You know, I've been thinking a lot about my favorite teachers lately. From kindergarten to college, I've had some amazing teachers, most of whom changed the entire course of my life. But as somebody who loves history, I've been wondering, has that always been the case? How did teachers blaze trails and make learning a positive experience? Well, I happen to know of one trailblazing teacher, and we're going to talk about them today on Detroit History Heroes. Welcome to Detroit History Heroes, the show where we explore the stories of some fantastic Detroiters. My name is Kayla and I work for the Detroit Historical Society, and today we're going to be talking about Fannie Mae Richards, the teacher who integrated Detroit public schools. Fannie was born in 1840 in Fredericksburg, Virginia. She was one of 14 kids, and her parents, Marie and Adolph, were both foreign-born. Marie was from Toronto and Adolph from the Caribbean. Both were well educated, and most importantly, both were free. Not a lot is known about Fanny's childhood, but we do know what life might have been like for her and her family. Although the Richards were free, life was not easy. The Richards lived in Virginia in the pre-Civil War time, or what historians call the antebellum period. Slaveholding states had restrictive laws known as black codes that affected the daily lives of both the enslaved and the free people living in them. For example, in the Richards' home state of Virginia, it was illegal for any African American to use and own a sheepdog. But most telling was the law that made it illegal for a freed black person to even be in Virginia. Between 1806 to 1837, all freed blacks were legally banned from the Commonwealth and were told they had to move out of state. There was a way for freed blacks to stay in Virginia. They had to successfully petition the state for the right to stay. If they failed their petition, the law stated that they would become enslaved and the local sheriff could sell them at auction. The law ended thanks to the many petitions filed by African Americans and the protests of the white business owners who hired African Americans. When Adolph Richards died in the 1850s, Fanny's mother Marie moved the family to Detroit and then eventually to Toronto. There, Fanny attended the Toronto Normal School. We don't use this term anymore, but a normal school is basically a school that's designed to teach teachers. After she finished her education, Fanny went to study under the great Frederick Froebel in Germany. Frederick Froebel created the concept of kindergarten and using play in school. To learn about life before Froebel, we're going to go to our flash footnotes. All right, everybody, settle down, settle down. Let's get started for today. Thank you, students. As you know, today will be my last day teaching, as I will be getting married this weekend, and a married woman cannot teach. Ma'am, pick me? Pick me? Yes, Jedediah. Well, as you know, I'm already 14 and in the 3rd grade, and my daddy thinks that I've already had all the learning that I need. So I was wondering, can I be excused for the rest of the planting season to help him out? It's may I be excused, Jedediah, and yes, you may. I assume you will not be coming back until the planting is over. I will leave a note for the teacher, just in case. Can you turn in your homework before you go? Yes, ma'am. It got a little wet. It fell into a puddle. Oh, well, I see. You know, I would give you an F on this assignment if it wasn't for the fact that you were leaving, and I'd make you sit in the dunce chair and have all of your other classmates laugh at you. Have a good planting, Jedediah. We will see you once the harvest is here. Alright, I'll begin with teaching my 1st graders in the 1st row. My 2nd graders, please work on your reading, writing, and arithmetic from your McGuffey reader. That's all you're going to do today. And then, if you guys are really, really extra good, we can have a little fun with a spelling bee! Let's begin, shall we? Basically, if you made a block tower in your preschool class, or played with a tambourine recorder when you were a little kid, or grew pea plants in cups to learn about the life cycle, you have Friedrich Froebel to thank. Froebel believed that, quote, "Children are like flowers. They are varied and need care, but each is beautiful alone and glorious when seen in a community of peers." And his very promising student, Fanny, also believed the same thing. Fanny moved to Detroit in 1863 and set up her own private school for African Americans. She not only taught at the school, but also served as the principal of the school for the entire 5 years she was there. The Detroit public school system had been around for only 25 years in the 1860s, but it was the first time that African Americans were allowed to attend a public school in the city, and that school, Colored School Number 1, was segregated from the rest of the public schools. The school district decided to open a second public school for African Americans, so Fanny jumped on board. Fanny became the first African American to teach for the city of Detroit. but she soon realized separate was not equal. Beginning in 1869, Fanny helped sue the city government of Detroit in order to integrate the school system. With the help of city councilman John J. Bagley, and who would later become the governor of the state of Michigan, she brought the case in front of the Michigan Supreme Court. There it was ruled that the segregation of Detroit schools was illegal, and the schools had to integrate. Having accomplished all of that, Fanny became a teacher at Everett School, the first integrated school in DPS, in 1871. She also ran the first kindergarten class in the state of Michigan. And if all that wasn't enough, Fanny Richards also opened the Phyllis Wheatley Home for Aged Colored Ladies, a home for older women of color who no longer could take care of themselves. When Fanny Richards retired from Everett in 1915, she had been a teacher for over 50 years. Not only that, but she was well loved by her students. An article in the Detroit News about her after she retired said that she could barely walk down the street without a former student stopping her and saying how much they really appreciated her. One former student who became a judge said, "Though your active participation in this work is about to cease, may you long be spared as an example of those who follow you." So next time you're thinking of amazing Detroiters, add Fanny Richards to that list. And remember to thank a teacher you know today. Thanks for watching. This episode, I'd like to give a special shout out to Miss Talitha Bowens for her help. Thanks, Miss T. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the Detroit Historical Society channel for more great stories about your favorite Detroiters. If you want to learn more about Fanny Richards or any other Detroiters, you can check out our website at detroithistorical.org. And make sure to leave a comment down below of which Detroit history hero you want to hear about next. Hang out with us on Facebook at Detroit Historical Society. And you can also find us on Twitter at DHS Detroit and Instagram at Detroit Historical. My name is Kayla, and this has been Detroit History Heroes. See you next time.